a very privileged life. I don't have to worry about a lot of things. I don't have to worry about financial troubles. I don't have to worry about having a roof over my head. There's no point in continuing the list. Basically, I don't have to worry about a lot of things that other people have to worry about because I'm very lucky. And so like we all know what humans do once their basic needs are fulfilled. We start worrying about things that are not as essential. And our brains have this incredible ability to create problems when you don't have any in your life, because of course there always needs to be a problem. I digress. The point that I'm trying to make is that emotional pain is kind of the only real pain I have in my life, especially because the only real health problem I have is depression. And so it's like, what? I have a YouTube channel and I talk about boys and I write songs about boys and I get on the phone with my friends and I talk about boys. Like, it's dumb, but it's not. Like, why is everybody freaking the fuck out about the Taylor Swift Eras tour? Taylor writes music that people emotionally connect to, and that's why she's so popular. I'm just trying to justify what I spend my time doing, what shit I put out into the world, because it's like, it feels a little stupid sometimes. Even though I've gotten like extraordinary long comments, I've gotten emails, I've gotten Reddit messages of people giving feedback and telling me that what I said really resonated with them or helped them. I think what I'm trying to do is be a voice for people who feel things very deeply, and I know there are a lot of us out there, but this is also something I've learned from dating men. There are a lot of people who don't really feel things, which obviously is not something that is exclusive to men, but it's something that I learned by talking to men, is that there are people out there who feel less empathy, and there are people out there who don't really get emotionally attached to other people. But anyways, I was in a relationship for a few months at the end of last year, and it started out really good and then it very quickly became bad. He sat me down and told me things were gonna get bad, so I can never blame him for things being bad, not that I wanted to, but it was one of those things that by the time things were not good, you were in too deep, you were like, I want to make this work, I have learned your value as a person and I don't want to let go of you. And like, we ended it for the same reason, because things were bad and we knew that things had gotten bad and there was nothing I could do to change that. Like, things were okay at times, or at the very least they felt okay, but ultimately it was like not an emotionally sustainable thing. And so during that period, my relationship was the biggest stressor in my life. And when I have a problem in my life, what my brain does is beat it to death, and I just think about it. I think the hell out of it. I think about it from every angle I could possibly think of thinking about it. I look at it from different perspectives. I try to come up with creative solutions. So every aspect of this relationship has been thought about a lot, and especially every aspect of the breakup. For a while I was like, I'm not gonna make a video about this. There was this one night where I woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 5 or 6 a.m. and I just like couldn't stop thinking about it. Honestly, it might be cathartic. Thinking about something to death is like such a mentally exhausting thing, but it's just what I do. Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts and that's why I'm here. I'm in my early 20s and being in a relationship doesn't really fucking make sense. I think that in a lot of ways relationships are just incompatible with being young, because young people are trying to figure themselves out. They're working a lot because they're trying to jumpstart their career. They might be moving around a lot. They might be traveling while they don't have a lot of responsibilities. It's very hard to make promises to somebody about the future when you're so unstable and there's so much uncertainty. And that's the part that's beautiful about being young, is this instability, uncertainty, the potential of like, you don't know where your life is gonna go, and you have the ability to pursue opportunities, whatever they may be. And it seems like being in a relationship kind of holds you back. And so I guess we can talk about like the pros and cons of being in a relationship, which I think were made very obvious to me when I was in a relationship that wasn't working for me. When you're single, you don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have anyone tying you to a certain place. There's no one you have to check in with. You're not obligated to be at anyone's beck and call. There's nobody you have to text back. It is the ultimate freedom, and I can understand why a lot of people don't want to be in committed relationships. Most people spend most of their lives married or partnered or whatever, so why not be young, dumb, and free while you can be? But at the same time, it's really nice to have an anchor in your life when you are going through a lot of changes. It's nice to have something in your life that is consistent. I think that we should be in relationships when we're young, because that experience is really valuable. Like the experience of dating and meeting people and knowing what you want and you don't want, and knowing what you need from a partner, knowing what you can give as a partner. Love and relationships have always been something that's really fascinating to me. And I think I am so interested in dating because it's almost like I'm doing research, I'm collecting data, I'm figuring things out. I think the more you you date, the more you realize, wow, there are so many undesirable qualities a person can have. And as you gather your list of undesirable qualities that you don't want your partner to have, sometimes you just ask yourself, like, am I asking for too much? And I think that's a large part of why I had so much trouble letting go of this relationship. He is such a good fucking person. I think it's so hard to meet somebody who is genuinely good at their core and genuinely just cares a shit ton about other people. And so when you love who somebody is, it can be really, really hard to accept that they don't make you feel loved, because that feels like something you can change. I definitely learned that in a relationship, I need somebody who's in a place in their life where they can prioritize a relationship. People here are so dedicated to the hustle and dedicated to the grind, career and jobs and stuff, which is like all fine and dandy, like you live your own fucking life. I value freedom above all else. I value having a lot of free time, not only to take care of myself, but to pursue my creative passions. And I just really want to be with somebody who doesn't want to work their life away, because there is so much more to life than that. I almost feel like working all the time is like the safe way out. Like, you'll always feel like you're doing the right thing. If you're busy all the time, you'll be distracted from whatever bullshit is going on in your life. I just need someone who's fucking there. I need someone who's physically going to be there for me. Like, I am somebody who's mentally ill. One of the biggest ways that I need my partner to show up for me is literally just to physically comfort me when I'm going through something. And for a long time I was like, you know, I don't need my boyfriend to do this. I have a very strong support system. I have so many different people I can go to. I have a therapist, I have my friends, I have my mom, like, I am totally fine. But every time I was going through something, there was only one person I wanted to be there for me, and it was him. Like, I could talk to all the people I wanted, but none of them were him. Something I wrote down in my journal that's also kind of been echoing in my head is, I deserve the best, but that just means I'm alone. Because, you know, when a relationship doesn't work out and you're like venting to your friends, they're all like, you deserve better, you can do better, you can be with somebody who actually gives you what you need and gives you what you deserve. And you think about it and you're like, yeah, there's like 8 million people in New York City alone, there's like 8 billion people in the world, of course I can find somebody who gives me the love that I deserve. But it just doesn't fucking work that way. I guess the math checks out, but how do you actually meet those people? Like, you can't expect to just spend X amount of hours on a dating app and go on X amount of dates and then be disappointed when you don't find somebody who lives up to your expectations. And the last thing I want is to sound like a girl who is incapable of being single. But you have to acknowledge that love is a drug. When you get out of a relationship, you are essentially an addict who just quit cold turkey, and you're in withdrawal. And it fucking sucks and it fucking hurts. And so we all try to get our drugs somewhere else, whether in a healthy or unhealthy way. What I'm trying to say is, you don't just like meet someone. You don't just like meet someone great. And so when you do meet someone great, you hold on tight, even though sometimes, you know, you shouldn't. I don't have any regrets, and I don't blame myself for making the decisions that I did at the time. And I've had to accept the fact that I couldn't save the relationship. It ended because of circumstances that were not in my control. The thing with breakups is you just kind of have to wait, and have to wait for things to get better, and you have to not do stupid shit in the meantime. And so time is passing, as it always does, and that's where I'm at. Unfortunately, I don't think breakups ever get easier. I don't think they ever get less painful. I was talking to my friend about it. I was like, I don't know why I feel this awful, like we weren't even together for that long. And she was like, sometimes it's the short ones that really sting, because you weren't together for a long time, like you never really truly lived out your potential and like saw where it could go. And I was like, fuck, you're totally right. I've had to keep reminding myself that the version of him I want to be with is the version of him that I met on our first date, the version of him at the very, very beginning of our relationship. I was in love with the version of him that no longer existed, and I wanted so bad for that version to exist again. I know I'm not being a very good advocate of what I'm saying right now, but I think you should fall in love when you're young. I think you should get your heart broken. I think it sucks, but I think it's worth everything that you get out of it, even if it was a shitty relationship. And being in love is just such a beautiful thing. And I think it's a feeling that should not be discounted just because you don't want to feel the negative things that will likely be a consequence of you being in love. It hurts, but at least that's how you know you're alive. At least you get to say you know what it feels like to love and to be loved. And not everyone can say they've felt that. I am slowly healing and slowly getting through this, and if I can do it, I know that you can too. My name is Grace. I make really depressing videos on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye.